They said the flood in my yard was just an accident. But accidents don't happen 3 times in 1 month, always right after I argue with the HOA president. The first time, I came home to find my yard under 6 inches of brown water, my garden half drowned, and mud streaking the side of my house. The HOA blamed a sprinkler malfunction. The second time it happened again. Same hour, same day of the week, same direction of water flow, straight from the HOA's irrigation line that ran behind my fence. When I brought it up, the president, a guy named Mark with a gold watch and an attitude, just smirked. "Maybe maintain your drainage better," he said. I spent the next weekend with a shovel and a camera. I dug near the fence and found a PVC pipe with a fresh, clean cut and a connector leading straight into their system. They had redirected one of their sprinkler branches into my property's runoff line. My yard was their overflow drain. Every time they overwatered, my land took the hit. I sent photos, a letter, everything. The HOA's response? A fine. They called my garden an unsanctioned wetland. I laughed so hard it scared the neighbor's dog. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to argue anymore. I was going to teach them what a real flood looked like. For a week, I watched and waited. Every time their sprinklers came on, I noted the timing, pressure, and duration. They had the system automated, set to run for an hour before dawn and again in the evening. I found the control box behind the clubhouse, next to the maintenance shed. Locked, but nothing a trip to the hardware store couldn't fix. Then I did my homework. Turns out the HOA irrigation used water from a shared utility account tied to the entire neighborhood. If that system failed or overflowed, the HOA would be responsible for damages, and the water company would shut the supply until inspection. All I had to do was give them a reason to look. 2 nights before the next board meeting, I slipped behind the clubhouse with a wrench, a timer, and a cheap splitter valve. I didn't break anything, I just redirected, the same way they did to me. But this time, I routed the main pressure line back into their own sprinkler heads, closing the output valves so the system would feed itself. A perfect loop. When the sprinklers started at 5 a.m., pressure built up fast. Within minutes, hoses burst across half the lawns. The clubhouse flower beds exploded like geysers, and the fancy new turf peeled up like wet carpet. I watched from my porch as Mark stumbled out in his bathrobe, waving his arms at the chaos. By sunrise, the clubhouse was surrounded by a shallow lake. The water system tripped the breaker, shorted the control box, and flooded their electrical room. The city inspector came later that day, and I made sure to show him the pipe that crossed my fence, the one that had accidentally been cut weeks earlier. He took photos, wrote notes, and taped a red tag on the HOA's main line. System shut down. Investigation pending. For 2 weeks, the lawns dried to crispy yellow. The president went door to door with bottled water, begging volunteers to help hand water the community flower beds. Nobody showed. Even the neighbors who used to ignore me started stopping by to talk. One said, "Guess karma's got good aim." When the repairs were finally approved, the HOA had to pay for regrading, new wiring, and soil replacement. Almost 20 grand. I got a letter of apology and a refund for the fines. No one mentioned the mysterious backflow incident again. Now, every morning I sip my coffee on the porch, look at my rebuilt garden, and smile at the sound of silence. No sprinklers, no running water, no smug Mark pretending he owns the world. They wanted to drown me in their mess, and I made sure they learned how deep it could go. Like and subscribe for more stories of sweet, soaking revenge.